Welcome to Task 6 of Math is an Art. Before we start our number sense routine, it is time for your teacher to assign you your art partner. Press pause, then press play when you are ready to continue. Before we start our number sense routine, let's review our hand signals. We use these hand signals to communicate our thoughts during a number sense routine. These signals are held in front of your chest. A fist means I'm thinking about it. A thumbs up means I have an answer. And the last hand signal is how you show that you agree with something that someone else said. We will begin Task 6 with a number sense routine titled, Would You Rather? This routine is from mathlearningcenter.org. In today's lesson, we will be discussing fractions as numbers on the number line. Let's look at these number lines. Would you rather find the location of 7/8 on number line 1 or number line 2? Once you have made your choice, be prepared to justify your selection. Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. I would pick number line 1. The reason being is that I see the distance between 0 and 1/8, and I know that 7/8 is 1/8 less than 1 whole. So I picked that number line. You may have picked number line 2, and if you can justify your reasoning, that is completely fine. Now consider this question. Would you select the same number line to find 2/8? Why or why not? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. I could use the same number line. Because I see the distance between 0 and 1/8, I can just move 1 more eighth over, and I know that's 2/8. But looking at number line 2, I see 3/8, and I could jump about an eighth back to get to 2/8. So either number line would be a great number line to use to locate 2/8. Today's learning targets are: I can interpret fractions as numbers on the number line and represent fractions on a number line diagram. And I can create art inspired by Vasily Kandinsky's style abstract art. In Task 3, we are going to explore a composition by Vasily Kandinsky. Kandinsky was born in Moscow, Russia in 1866. Kandinsky was so inspired by different types of art he encountered, he decided to move to Germany to pursue his art career. Soon he began to experiment with the use of color. For example, why paint a tree brown when it can be pink? In 1914, he began to experiment with making visual representations of music, and his work became even more abstract. Kandinsky died in 1944, but is well known today as one of the founders of abstract art. Observe the artwork. What do you notice about this artwork? What do you wonder? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. I noticed that Kandinsky used a variety of colors, shapes, and lines in this composition. This is abstract art. Abstract art is derived from realism. However, objects in abstract art are not easily recognized as in realist art. Abstract art shows how an artist feels rather than how they see something. What emotions does this art piece evoke? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. Examining all the lines in Kandinsky's composition makes me think of a number line. We have placed whole numbers on a number line, but today we are going to talk about placing fractions on a number line. On the number line, the distance between two amounts is measured by length. For example, the amount of space between 0 and 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on is the same length. A ruler is a type of number line. Today's lesson is adapted from Math and Practice by Sue O'Connell. For this activity, each set of art partners will need one plate partitioned into parts, several paper clips, one crayon, a dark colored marker, a piece of yarn that is the length of the outer edge of the plate, and stick-on notes. Press pause, gather your materials, then press play when you are ready to continue. Look at your plates. What do you notice about these plates? These plates have been partitioned into a number of equal parts. Shade one part of your plate with a crayon. What is the fractional name of the part you shaded? Press pause, discuss as a class, then press play when you are ready to continue. The shaded piece of my plate represents 1/8. You will work with your art partner to wrap the string of yarn around your plate. Be careful to keep the yarn on the edge of the plate. The yarn should wrap around your plate as seen here. You will need to use paper clips and place them at the divisions on your plate to hold the string in place. After the string is wrapped around the edge of your plate, you will take a marker and mark the partitions as you see here. We'll do this for each partition. Press pause, complete this part of the activity, then press play when you are ready to continue. Now we will carefully remove our paper clips and yarn from the plate. We want to keep the paper clips in place. Now let's stretch our string into a straight line. Remember to keep the paper clips at the same points of the marker on your string. You have created a number line. Think of the string as the whole distance around the plate. Talk to your partner about what you notice about the tick marks that you made on your string. What do you wonder? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. Is your number line divided into equal parts? How do you know? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. How many equal parts do you see? What number would be the denominator? Why? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play when you are ready to continue. What does the first section of yarn between 0 and your first paper clip represent? How would you say this as a fraction? Remember, not everyone's plate is partitioned in the same way. Be sure to share your fraction with your class. Press pause, discuss this as a class, then press play when you are ready to continue. Now you will use sticky notes to label the parts of your number line. Remember, our very first starting point is 0 and our last point is 1. You will place a sticky note above each paper clip on your string to mark the fractional part that that paper clip represents. Press pause, label your number line, press play when you are ready to continue. You will now get into groups with other partner pairs. There should be a set of art partners that worked with halves, a set that worked with fourths, and a set that worked with eighths in each group. Each set of art partners will share their number line and tell the group the number of equal parts in their number line and explain how they labeled it. For example, I could say, my number line is partitioned into 3 equal parts. I labeled each part as follows: 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3 to reflect the whole partitioned into 3 equal lengths. Press pause, complete the activity, then press play when you are ready to continue. Now I would like for you to place your number lines like the lines in this picture. The start and end points of each line should line up. Observe the 3 number lines. What do you notice? What do you wonder? Press pause, discuss this as a small group, then press play when you are ready to continue. I notice that the whole length of each string is the same. I notice that 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8 are all in the same location on the number line. I notice that 1/4 is less than 1/2. I also notice that 2/8 is in the same location as 1/4 on the number line. There are a lot of things to notice about this group of number lines. Keep looking to see if you can come up with something else. What are some similarities between the divisions of the plate and the distances on the number line? Press pause, discuss this as a group, then press play when you are ready to continue. I noticed that the more parts a plate was divided into, the shorter the distance between tick marks on the number line. Let's take a look at our Task 6 lesson notes in our art manual. Look at the top number line. This number line represents a length from 0 to 1. Work with your art partner to label each tick mark on the top number line. Press pause, label the number line, press play when you are ready to continue. I labeled my number line like this, but my friend labeled his number line like this. Which number line is labeled correctly? How do you know? Press pause, discuss this with your art partner, then press play. My friend's number line is labeled correctly. Tick marks show divisions of measurement. Since this number line represents the length from 0 to 1, the first tick mark must be labeled 0. This is the starting point of my number line. No length has been measured at this point. The last tick mark on this number line is equal to 1 whole. This is the ending point of my number line. A length of 1 whole has been measured. When determining the denominator of a number line partitioned into a number of equal parts, we count the number of segments on the number line. How many equal length line segments do you see on this number line? I see 2 segments. 1, 2. I know that the tick mark in the middle of my line is 1/2. At this point of the number line, a length of 1/2 has been measured. Work with your art partner to label the next 2 number lines. These number lines also represent a length from 0 to 1. Press pause, label your number lines, then press play when you are ready to continue. I know that my starting point is 0 and my ending point is 1 whole. Next, I count the number of segments on my number line. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 equal segments. The denominator is 4. Let's count by fourths. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, which is equal to 1 whole. For the next number line, I know my starting point is 0 and my ending point is 1. Next, I count the number of segments on my number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 equal segments. The denominator is 8. Let's count by eighths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, which is the same as 1 whole. Let's include the most common misconception about a number line in our notes. Earlier, we talked about how we should count the equally sized segments on a number line rather than the number of tick marks. For our misconception, we will label our number line based on the number of tick marks. One misconception that people may have is saying this is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. That is because they see 3 marks. However, when we are finding fractions on a number line, we know that we count the number of equal line segments. This example is wrong. Now it's time to define our vocabulary. Tick marks show divisions of measurement. Area models are what we have worked with during the past several tasks. The whole is represented by the area of a shape. Fractions are measured based on the relationship between the size of the piece and the size of the whole. And today we have been working with linear models of fractions. The whole is partitioned into equal parts. Fractions are identified based on the distance from the starting point. Let's look closely at Kandinsky's artwork. Where do you see fractions within this composition? Press pause, discuss this as a class, then press play when you are ready to continue. I see that this square has been partitioned into 4 equal parts. I also see a segment of a number line that has been partitioned into 4 equal parts. There are many other things to see in this picture as well. You will be given a large piece of paper and markers or crayons. Today, you will create your own abstract artworks inspired by Kandinsky's style. You will incorporate fractions into your artwork by partitioning your lines and circles into fractional parts. Your composition must include the following. Include at least 3 lines partitioned into fractional parts. Include at least 2 to 3 geometric shapes partitioned into fractional parts. and create a caption for your composition describing your use of area and linear models. Press pause, complete your artwork. When you are ready to continue, press play. You will now participate in a gallery walk of your classmates' artwork. Leave a sticky note on 3 pieces of work. Include the emotion their artwork evoked based on their use of color and arrangement of their shapes and lines, and explain how you see fractions in their work. You will have about 10 minutes to complete the gallery walk. Press pause. When you are ready to continue, press play. Now it is your turn to show your teacher what you have learned through this lesson. You will complete the Task 6 formative assessment. Your teacher will give you more information about how you will turn this in. Press pause, then press play when you are ready to continue. We have now reached the math workshop portion of our task. As before, our math workshop will have 4 stations. At the small group station, your teacher will work with you to continue learning about fractions on a number line. At the independent task station, you will complete a task without the help of your teacher. You are welcome to work with your peers on this task. At the application test station, you will apply what you have learned to a new situation. Collaborating and working with your peers is encouraged at this station. At the math game station, you will play fraction tracks. For the game fraction tracks, you will need 6 counters, the fraction track cards, and the fraction track game boards. So the way that we play is that one partner draws a card. Okay, so I drew 1/8. So I can look on here and I can either move to that 8 or I can move to an equivalent fraction. However, I see, based on lining up my ruler, that I see that there's not another place where I can get an equivalent fraction. So I am going to choose to move this right here. Okay, so then let's say my partner's gone and they got 1/3. When we use our ruler to see if there's anything that lines up with it, we notice that 2/6 does. So they can either choose to move this 2/6 or move this 1/3. Okay, so next I go and I get 1/4. Okay, so we could see that 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8. So since I've already started moving on the 8th line, I'm going to continue to do that. So I know I need to move 2 more 8ths over. 1, 2. Okay, so gameplay continues and you move your counter along the line based on what you drew, unless you find an equivalent fraction. Like if I draw half, there's a bunch of equivalent fractions for half. So one of the things I know that I could do is move, like on this one, I could move 3/6 over, so 1, 2, 3, and almost be getting to the end of my line. So once I move a chip to the end of the line, I get to keep that one. So the player at the end of the game that has captured the most counters, that has moved the most counters to exactly 1, is the winner. You cannot move past the 1. You have to get exactly to the 1. Towards the end of the game, if you end up drawing a fraction that you cannot use and there's not an equivalent fraction, then you lose your turn. It is now time to begin Math Workshop. Press pause. When you are ready to continue, press play. Congratulations! You have now reached the end of Task 6. Today, we created an abstract composition in the style of Vasily Kandinsky. We also learned how to interpret fractions as numbers on the number line and represent fractions on a number line diagram. We hope you enjoyed Task 6. See you next time for Task 7.